Hi. Thank you for joining us on News and Views. And today I have someone that I've been trying to get on the show for a long time, Hector Valenzuela, who's a professor of, agriculture at the University of Manoa. And I wanted him to do a show on organic farming. Because everybody wants organic now. They want local and organic. And so the question is, what is organic? And that's why I called you, and actually years ago, if you could do this show, to tell us, what does organic mean and what does it mean for the world that we live in and a sustainable world that we want to live in today. So thanks so much for coming on, Hector. I really appreciate your coming down. So if you could tell the audience, what is organic?
Thank you for having me, Renee. And yeah, organic is very hot nowadays. Yeah. There's a huge demand in Hawaii, nationally and worldwide about organics. So if possible, thank you for having me come here today. If possible, I would like to discuss briefly what is organics.
Right.
Why is it that consumers like organics? What are consumers? Why are they spending this money on organics? Some of the basic production practices that farmers follow to grow crops organically. How can new farmers become certified? Because you have to go through a process to become certified. And then some larger issues about climate change and world hunger, and where does organic fit within this big picture. So first of all, organic farming is a method of farming that precludes or prohibits the use of synthetic chemicals.
Yeah, no chemical fertilizers.
No chemical fertilizers. So these synthetic pesticides, synthetic chemical fertilizers that are normally produced from fossil fuel, so are synthetically made in a factory. So farmers have to follow natural practices. A point to make.
The practices they followed for many centuries.
Correct. And this is, the government came up with federal standards for organic farming, and this is the first instance where the federal government steps up to actually legislate a particular method of farming. So they actually legislated, if you want to be an organic farmer, you have to follow these specific steps. And it is the first time that this takes place in agriculture, where the government actually defines what is organic farmer.
But in the end, we talk about certification to become organic, about how they also help the farmer, pay for this way of farming.
Correct. So there are some programs that assist farmers to become certified. So if you're getting started, you're trying to begin in farming, you should be aware of all these programs to make it a little easier to become organic. One thing to point out, however, is that the origin of organic farming comes from indigenous farming.
Right.
So as human beings, we have been farming organically for
centuries.
About 9,000 years, right?
Something like that.
So one of the ideas for organic, say you want to farm organically in Hawaii, is that you really should make an effort to learn from the indigenous population. How were they able to sustain themselves for so long and do it efficiently and sustainably?
Right, because it was friendly to the environment and the area that they were farming in.
Because nobody really understands the local environment better than populations that have been there farming there for hundreds and hundreds of years. These indigenous populations have a real good idea of the water, the ocean, all of the interactions that you have to put together to farm efficiently. But it is challenging because we are losing the knowledge from indigenous farming.
That's the scary part.
Right. But I just wanted to highlight that indigenous farming is kind of like the basis of how we move ahead to farm organically, and of course using the latest scientific information to be more effective. So on this slide, I will like to use describe some of the basic principles based on the International Federation of Organic Farming. And these include the principle of health, for healthy food, the principle of ecology. And this refers that in organic farming, we're trying to optimize ecological and biological processes within the farm, such as
a healthy farm.
Of a healthy farm, but we're trying to optimize the nutrient cycle, the water cycle, so all the biological interactions are optimal for production of crops. The principle of fairness, fair to the community, fair to the farmer, fair to the consumer, and the principle of caring. And this follow-up slide further describes, so in terms of health, we're talking about healthy soil, healthy crops, healthy livestock. In principle, in terms of ecology, we're talking about recycling resources within the farm, so we are more efficient and less wasteful. Fairness refers to both ecological and social justice, so we protect the environment and also the communities. And in principle of care, we talk about precaution. Be careful about what we do, that we don't have
how it affects the soil and the environment.
Correct. So I will show a few slides just to describe some of the basic practices. And this slide, these are organic farmers from Thailand. They are exporting cabbage and other produce to Europe. And when you talk to organic farmers, a lot of them say they became farmers not only because of the philosophy, because they like to take care of the land, of the soil, but also for health reasons, because they're concerned. Maybe in the past they applied chemicals and there were some health issues, so they would like to have healthy farming and protect their families. In this next slide shows that a foundation of organic farming is to take care of the soil. So organic farmers have always said if they have a healthy soil, they will have a healthy plant. And science is starting to corroborate that what farmers were saying for a long time, it's actually true. Healthy soil leads to stronger plants that can actually fight off diseases. This slide shows that what we're trying to address when we're talking about healthy soil is to have good soil aggregates. And aggregates are like particles and glue that keep the soil together, and they make water available to the plant, nutrients available to the plant. So we want to build the soil to have good, what is called soil aggregation, by adding organic amendments. There's different ways to improve the soil. Through crop rotation, diversification, by adding organic amendments or chicken manure. This next slide shows another method, which is to add mulches, organic mulches. So you see strawberries are growing in the rows, and in between the rows, you add mulches. So the mulch eventually will decompose, it holds the water, it cools the soil, so the earthworms below are real happy. And a basic focus is to increase the microbial activity in the soil. And this, we are starting to learn that it's an integral part to have a healthy soil and a healthy plants. If you have healthy microbes, they not only help. They're good guys that help the plant directly, and also help the plant to fight off pests and diseases. This other slide shows different ways. So here in this field, their crops were recently planted or transplanted, and you put a mulch to protect the seedlings, the babies. So again, you're making a real ideal environment. This is in Africa, so it's cooling the soil to have an ideal growth for the seedlings soon after planting. This following slide again shows the general objective of healthy soil is to have a healthy biota or biodiversity below the soil. And
good insects, good bugs.
Good insects, good bugs. and the good guys keep the bad guys from taking over. And it's interesting that we are realizing that both human health and plant health are highly dependent on microbial activity. So we are realizing that for us as humans, the microbial activity in our guts is what keeps us going. It makes us stronger, a strong immune system, and anything that disrupts the microbial activity in the gut may disrupt our health, right? And we're finding the same issue with the soil. So what practices can we follow as farmers to improve the microbial activity? And this is achieved through adding organic matter, increasing the quality of the soil. Some of the problems with industrial farming, with conventional farming, we're starting to realize is that the pesticides or the fertilizers that we apply disrupt the microbial activity in the soil. Sometimes it kills a lot of them or some of them, and some of the residues in the food that may contain pesticides may also disrupt the microbial activity.
And if you wash your food, that doesn't mean all the residues of the pesticides come off.
Correct. So this is scientific information that is starting to come up that is revealing why it's important from a farmer perspective to build the soil, and also for us as humans to have healthy diets that don't have toxics that may affect in one way or the other our health. In this other following slide, in terms of pest control, in terms of where the farmer tries to promote biological diversity in the field, so that there's a lot of natural enemies. So we have microbial activity in the soil, and above the soil we have spiders and beneficial insects that feed on the bad guys. But in addition to that, some farmers also use extracts. And there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of research that we have to do to identify which are the ideal extracts. Say if you have aphids or mites or thrips on your garden, what kind of extracts will be the most effective to control your pests. So later on, I think we're going to talk about the need for research for organic farming, and there is a lot of research that we need to do, background research, to help our farmers to say this is the best products that you can use in terms of organics. Another central feature of organics is the plants that you select. So in a way,
the crop you choose to grow.
Correct.
In other words,
the crop that you choose to grow as a cash crop, but also the crops that will be surrounding your farm. So you actually have to design the entire system.
Environment.
And if you have a healthy environment, you will be attracting a lot of beneficial organisms, and the biological diversity is going to help to have a healthier farm in terms of good yields, less pests and diseases. And we call this diversity, germplasm diversity. And this also in this next slide here, it shows the diversity with different types of potatoes that are available.
Oh, so many.
Which also benefits the consumer. Because the consumer nowadays doesn't only want, or she doesn't only want russet potatoes, but they want 20 different kinds of potatoes.
So or one choose, kind of apple, but many kinds to choose.
So genetic diversity is also very central to healthy organic farming. In this next slide, again, we show the diversity of products that you see on the market. And I think we're seeing it more and more. Now, if we go to Safeway, or especially if we go to farmers markets, and I think you also see it a lot more if you go to the mainland or other countries where you see like 20 different types of tomatoes and so on. So this is really exciting for consumers because they have a wider choice. This is an organic farm that I showed earlier from Thailand, from northern Thailand, and you can see the biological diversity, the vegetation diversity. And when you have trees
in the middle of your farm,
right, you can also call it agroforestry. So you may have multiple crops on the farm, and
in the same plot.
In the same plot.
Oh.
And this just diversity creates stability in terms of ecological balance. So
how do these trees help the crops?
the trees may provide some shade.
Oh,
They may attract beneficial insects. A big thing for organics is the attraction of pollinators. So we want to attract bees and beneficial pollinators. So the trees are also, because they have deep roots, they're digging nutrients from deep inside the soil. And when the leaves fall, they contribute micronutrients and other nutrients to the soil. So trees can provide multiple benefits. So
Interesting.
we're trying to diversify the farm as much as we can based on the local vegetation. In this next slide, it's an organic farm from in Maui, and in this case, after the farmer harvested the cash crop, like onions or vegetables, they plant a cover crop, and in this case, it's rape, and the cover crop is planted to improve the fertility of the soil.
Why do they call it a cover crop?
Because it's covering the ground.
Oh, just
so it's protecting the ground
Yeah.
while you give the soil a break from your cash crop.
Is that also what you call crop rotation?
It's
not necessarily.
rotation in a way, but you're rotating with a crop that you're not going to sell for
Yeah.
sale, but it's just giving a break to the soil, building back the soil, and breaking disease cycles, so that after you harvest the cover crop, you can come and plant another cash crop. Now you can plant tomatoes or cabbage or onions, and the crop is going to be a lot healthier because the cover crop assisted in different ways. It helps to control the weeds. It may help to control diseases in the soil. So you can pick and choose from a lot of different cover crops to see which is the most effective on your farm.
What is rape?
Rape is like a mustard.
Oh, mustard.
A mustard plant. They also call it
I've
canola.
heard. Pardon?
Canola.
Oh, canola. Yeah,
right,
I've heard
right,
that
right. So
name in
it has
canola
different-
oil, right?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yes, in this slide, we see more diversity, more vegetational diversity on the farm. So we have organic pineapples, we have coffee, and so we have an agroforestry system that is providing multiple benefits to the farm. So it is very, because the diversity, it is very difficult to disrupt the system. And this is what we call resilience. And later on, we will talk about climate change. And something we would like to build is resilience on the farm. So say, for instance, we have a drought in this farm. Maybe some crops are not going to make it, but pineapple may be a little stronger. So the pineapple may be able to survive a drought.
A drought.
So at the end of the cycle, you have a crop that you can sell, and it's not a total loss for the farm.
And you were saying in our prep meeting that the way they treat the soil also makes it more like a water conservation or catchment system.
Correct.
That's also better for the farmer during drought.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's we talked earlier about building the soil, and that is one of the aspects in the soil that we are incorporating carbon, so the soil becomes like a sponge. So it absorbs a lot of water for long periods of time. So if there happens to be a drought for 1 or 2 weeks, that soil can provide some moisture to the crop as compared to a soil that has been degraded by machinery and by industrial farming, where you over-cultivate the soil all the time. In this next slide, it's a farm from Kona on the Big Island. And again, it shows the diversity, different leafy crops, also high-value crops, so that you can sell to local markets and actually make a good living. Because ideally, we would like to develop systems in Hawaii where the farmer can make good money on an acre basis, so that you can outcompete produce coming from other from other regions, from other countries,
being shipped in.
Right.
The 90% of our crops, I mean of our food.
Right. So farming is actually, organic farming is actually a very sophisticated system. I often think that you may need a undergraduate degree on agriculture or agriculture and business because it is very sophisticated. You have to be a jack of all trades. You have to know about machinery, about plants, about the soil. And in agriculture, I think almost all fields can be used in agriculture. The field of chemistry, physics, mathematics, calculations, all of those can be put to work to improve the methods that we use for farming. So that's my plug to the young kids to say, hey, we need your help because our farmers need a lot of help with new technology and to make farming a little easier. Here we have another slide. This is from Kauai. And again, you see high value leafy crops with a drip irrigation. And in the background, you see bananas and other tree fruit crops to have a somewhat agroforestry system. In this next slide, we have an example of organic papaya, which is grown in Molokai. Farmers in Molokai saw the opportunity of organic papayas as a market because a lot of consumers did not want to purchase the GMO papaya, so they say, oh, here we have a market.
Right.
So with the
we
help,
like our papaya.
right. So with the help of extension agents in Molokai,
Great.
they were able to put an entire technological package together: the seed, the production system,
Great.
and to train farmers, because it's very sophisticated and difficult, how to learn about exporting the product, high quality organic product to the mainland. So this is
what about Hawaii? The rest of Hawaii.
right. Well, you always have to choose a crop that is ideal for your system. So this next slide again shows the label and the packaging that is used to ship papaya.
Non-GMO.
Correct. Yes. I mentioned earlier the importance of genetic diversity, of having different varieties. This next slide shows that back in the 50s and 60s at UH, we did have a very strong breeding program. And this slide shows an example of some of the varieties that we were working with at the time, developing new varieties of lettuce, sweet potato, tomato, cauliflower, sugar pea. In the 60s, we developed onions, different tomato varieties. And this is something that we have lost in a way at the university because we no longer have a strong breeding program. So this is a plug to highlight the importance for us in Hawaii to develop our own varieties that are adapted to Hawaii.
To Hawaiian environments.
Right, to Hawaii's environment, to organic farming. And these would make Hawaii also a center of organic farming in the world because we could export our seed, improved varieties to other countries that are looking for organic seed.
Yeah. So, and is this a time where we should talk about how small farmers in Hawaii can get certified to become organic farmers?
Sure. So it is called organic certification, and the federal government authorizes specific agencies or groups within the country to certify farmers. So farmers have to follow a specific protocol, and as part of when you're preparing the application, it's almost like preparing a business plan.
So you have to say how you're going to farm,
Right.
how you're going to prepare your soil, what kind of crops you're going to, plant, that sort of thing.
Correct. So first
of plan.
Right. So first of all, your farm, you couldn't have applied any chemicals in the farm for 3 years. So you have to explain, I stopped applying chemicals 3 years ago, and these are the practices that I will follow to build the quality of the soil, because you have to keep improving the soil. So like you say, we will follow rotations. I'm going to follow plant cabbage. I'm going to follow it with corn or with tomatoes, or with a cover crop. I will apply organic amendments, chicken manure.
And do they help you with making up this business plan?
No, you may get help from other farmers, from the university, from cooperative
university,
extension.
yes.
When you file your application, they may have some feedback for you, saying you're not providing this information, or you need to provide some more additional information.
But and apparently you were saying that they actually assist you in paying to become certified.
Yes, there are government programs, and currently the Department of Agriculture has a program where they subsidize 75% of the cost of becoming certified. So after you submit your business plan, the organization, the group, will send an inspector to your farm, and simply to verify that most of the practices that you list on your plan are shown in the field.
So they can come to UH and find out what it is that they need to do to become organically certified, and then the Department of Ag can help them go through the certification process.
Right.
And last but not least, we were also saying that organic farming was good for in the age of climate change, is also good for the environment and our sustainability.
Right.
Would you like to, we only have a couple of minutes now.
There's a current understanding that organic farming would be very effective, over the most effective system to mitigate the effects of climate change because of more carbon sequestration, because of greater water holding capacity.
Yeah, the soil holds the
Right.
water better.
And also because of the issue of resiliency. Resiliency means that it's a lot stronger. It can withstand droughts, flooding, a lot better than conventional systems. And also the idea that small farms are a lot more effective to feed local populations, especially in tropical regions like Africa, Asia. Small farms are a lot more efficient than large-scale industrial farms.
Yeah, large-scale farms that give you a lot of pineapple, but we need the smaller farms to give you everything else that we need to eat.
Right, right. Yeah, basically, if you have a 5,000-acre tomato farm, it's very easy for that farm to get wiped out by a big drought or by a big flood, as compared if you have a mosaic of 60 different crops, which are a lot more stronger. You may lose 4 or 5 crops, but you may have 3 other crops that are better adapted to withstand that system.
So it's actually in Hawaii's best interest to go more and more into the organic field.
There's more and more talk about organic farming nowadays, and I'm encouraged the university to develop a curriculum or undergraduate degrees and graduate degrees on organic or agroecological farming, and also agencies like the Department of Agriculture to put together programs that can assist, that really assist organic farmers.